so you can hear me. Alrighty, so what do we need to do? We need to grab this body, and we've got that body. We need to get in there and drill those holes. I've got the drill bit too. I've got black hardware. It's got Mr. Glynn's Cruel Mistress vintage telly pickups, brass saddles, bone nut. It's all good. Where the weed at? What's going on? Thank you for the follow. Good to see you. Welcome on in.
Who?
Okay, so that's that guy there. But that's to show you that copper-looking red cedar when it really gets polished up. It really looks copperish.
Come here, little guy. Come here, my little boy. Hello. Hello. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Hey? Good boy.
To go on top. So that's what we did there. That back's going to be sensational. That is so smooth. Very smooth. Ha! Absolutely. They are drums. They're percussion instruments as well as stringed instruments. They can be used. If you watch the old flamenco guys playing, the old Spanish guys, they're doing all that stuff. They're going tippa-tappa, tippa-tippa-dum, ring, 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 tippa-tappa, tippa-tappa, dum, ding, dum, dang. So it's all good. Right, here we go. There's the back. Bringing it up, that's not too bad. Okay, let's get that sound going so you can hear me. Alrighty, so what do we need to do? We need to grab this body, and we've got that body. We need to get in there and drill those holes. I've got the drill bit too. I've got black hardware. It's got Mr. Glynn's Cruel Mistress vintage telly pickups, brass saddles, bone nut. It's all good. Where the weed at? What's going on? Thank you for the follow. Good to see you. Welcome on in.
Who?
Okay, so that's that guy there. But that's to show you that copper-looking red cedar when it really gets polished up. It really looks copperish.
Come here, little guy. Come here, my little boy. Hello. How you doing? How you doing? Hey? Good boy.
To go on top. So that's what we did there. That back's going to be sensational. That is so smooth. Very smooth. Ha! Absolutely. They are drums. They're percussion instruments as well as stringed instruments. They can be used. If you watch the old flamenco guys playing, the old Spanish guys, they're doing all that stuff. They're going tippa-tappa, tippa-tippa-dum, ring, 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 tippa-tappa, tippa-tappa, dum, ding, dum, dang. So it's all good. Right, here we go. There's the back. Bringing it up, that's not too bad. Okay, let's get that sound going so you can hear me. Alrighty, so what do we need to do? We need to grab this body, and we've got that body. We need to get in there and drill those holes. I've got the drill bit too. I've got black hardware. It's got Mr. Glynn's. Howdy folks, how are we all doing? Welcome to the show. Manny here on a Friday in Sydney. Hope you're all having a good week. Happy New Year to everyone. Last week we were saying Merry Christmas and now we're already into the new year. How you all been? I hope you're well. Let's put our apron on, give you an update on how we're going. Who we got in the house? Leslie's here. Happy New Year to you too. Who else is here? Oh, I can't read that. Let me put my glasses on because I'm half blind. The real one-shot kill. What's going on? Piano making. We could do pianos if you want. Terry, what's going on? Dana, what's going on? Happy New Year. Jamie, you cheeky bugger, as they say. What's going on, guys? Been a while. Absolutely, it's been a while. We're working on an acoustic at the moment, and I have braced it, and I have tuned it and voiced it, as they say. Did that in the off hours this week, and we're getting ready to start bending sides and things. So we're at the point where we need to start getting it to look like a guitar. I'll give you an update on how we're going. Let's switch cameras and go to the bench and show you where we're up to. So here it is all clamped up, just to keep it from moving or bending or having anything fall on it. I've got that sandwich against the template just to keep it nice and flat while we keep it stored. I'll put these clamps away and we'll give you a look at the bracing and what have you. Okay, that's the top, that's the template, that's the back, Tasmanian Blackwood. There's the bracing on the back, done and dusted. That'll stiffen that up nicely, ready to go. The top is that guy there, and we've got this guy voiced now. And when I say voiced, if you look at the bracing here, I've taken some fillets out of the bulk of that wood there. So there's great big scallops out of there, a few little scallops in there, and that's and a couple of little scallops in here as well, gently scalloped through here. This one's angled away, this one's chamfered away as well, and that's got it voiced so that we get, you can't feel that, but I can actually feel it vibrating like a rubber band. And you're getting different tones. Now I did manage to tap test that with a spectrum analyzer, and I got somewhere in the range of 85 to 440 for the standard first or initial degree, first degree frequencies. And then the higher, the octaves, we got into like the 2000 up to about the 5000 mark, or 5 kilohertz for the octaves. So it means it's got a good general ability to vibrate and resonate at those frequencies, which means we're going to be able to play notes and get a lot of color, as much color as we want, as well as balancing the tonality with volume, right? The more this vibrates, the louder it gets. But also the darker it gets too. So it's a fine combination of things. Bumstead, what's going on? The science of acoustics. Look, it's a funny science, but that guy is drumming away, and it actually vibrates really, really well. Anyway, the spectrum, and it's I did post the results. I did post some interim results on a little scale down graph to show you where it was peaking. It was peaking at, what was it? It was peaking at G. Is that right? Yes, G, A, E. That's in the first octave, the primaries. And then we got some really good Ds and Es and Cs in the upper registers, or in the harmonic ranges. And so it's got a nice color across the board of most of the tonality that you would expect from a top of this quality, being bunya pine, or even a spruce top would have a similar readings. I've looked at graphs from other manufacturers and guitar makers and luthiers to see where they spike and where they peak with their frequencies, and it's pretty much bang on what they're doing in terms of we're peaking at the same in the same ranges, in the 80 to 100 range. Hertz range, in the 2 to 220 range, in the 350 to 450 range. So that's quite common for this bracing pattern. Now that's the other thing. The pattern that we use is a standard pattern, this guy here, and that gives us that tonality because it's proven. Okay, it's a proven pattern to allow a certain amount of stiffness and dynamics through that top on a dreadnoughty sized guitar. Of course, cutaway is going to be a little bit different, right? Because there is that little bit less mass up here. And also we've used a very, very thin brace across the shoulders there above the sound hole. Usually that's a good 1/2 inch thick and maybe, even up to 3/4 of an inch high. But I've gone with a standard about 9mm high and about 1/4 inch wide, just a little bit bigger than the other braces, but not as heavy or big on the top. We've got some mahogany neck block and a mahogany tail block going in, so that will lock that in once we get that, and that will stiffen that and support those backs nicely. Sorry, the sides I should say. There's the back, so the back's braced up. We've just got standard, kept the thickness through there, most of that. This one's voiced a little bit differently. It's a bit darker, but it is louder. It's a heck of a lot louder. So that's going to give us some really good tone once we strum. And again, it depends on the style. Finger picking, strumming. This one's a generic. Those ranges are good for a generic player. Someone that picks a bit, someone that strums a bit. It is very, very interesting, Leslie. It is. I'm learning a lot too, because I'm by no means a sound engineer. But I did want to do a little bit of scientific evaluation with it. How you doing, Shoots? What's going on, brother? Big Happy New Year to you, mate. I hope you're doing well. Great to see you here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start setting up, see if we can get one of those sides bent without breaking it. So we've got matching sides with this blackwood. That's what we're going to be bending. I think we're good for now on this guy, just to leave that alone for now. So what I might do is put this away by clamping that up again against the template, protecting the face side and also keeping it nice and flat so that we don't get any movement or warpage from humidity. It's quite humid in Sydney, and it's also quite hot and varying temperatures. So what we're going to do is clamp that guy back up, and then we're going to start setting up to bend some sides. I think that's what we're going to do, if you all are willing to do that. I will give you a look at now. There's a slight little problem. It's not a problem. It's a little bit of rework we want to do on the back of that Telecaster. There's a couple of little spots I'm not happy with, and I just want to give that a light sand and finish off again. So I'm going to do that off stream, and then we'll continue putting that together. For those that haven't seen it, I'll give you a look at that telly that we're putting together. I'm talking about this guy here. The Fox. Okay, so that guy's almost ready. I'll give you a look at the specs. We've got a P90 in the neck. We've got a humbucker in the bridge, and we've got chrome hardware, and we've got that's a flamed Queensland maple top. It's got oil on it. The Fox, not the Fix, the Fox, Terry. That's the back. That's a poplar top, poplar solid body, I should say. It's been chambered, and it's got some beautiful sapwood through there. And that's going to be matched up with, dare I say, this neck here, coachwood, beautiful coachwood neck, and it's going to have a Burdekin plum fretboard with chrome hardware, and that's good to go, ready to go. That's already sanded, oiled, and sat. We have slotted the nut, but we haven't finished the nut, so we will be doing some nut work eventually. We've got to sand that guy down, and we've got to get him to the right profile, etc. But that'll be on the finishing touches before we restring. You like that? Swing! It's a little bit of a swing top, I dare say, as well. It is a bit of a swing top, so let's pop that guy up here. Hang him away. We'll take this guy away. The other thing, of course, that I want to finish is good old Aurora. She's had a devil of a time. Let me get her. Okay, Aurora is an LP style. She is a mahogany body and a Australian rosewood neck. That's the Australian rosewood neck. That's the mahogany body. She's been sanded back again. Just little problems with her finish. I just want to get it nice and shiny. It is polyurethane, hand rubbed. There's the top. The top's looking okay, so we're not worried about the top. That's obviously a flame maple top, and that's got a three-way switch with two controls, as opposed to the 4 controls that you get on LP. It's got a lemon or a sort of a orangey lemon burst, a dirty lemon burst. You can just see that in the light there, honey burst. It's got an ebony fretboard with, actually no, it's river oak, the fretboard. It looks like ebony. And we've got big block inlays there, a little bit of a variation on those. And that's coming along nicely as well. It's going to have 2 vintage sort of like 59 styled or voiced pickups from Mr. Glenn's. And there's an ad coming up in 56 seconds, just warning you guys. So that guy there's almost ready. Just doing a refinishing job on the back because I wasn't happy with it. I want it to look really as good as I can get it. And it's also experimenting with my techniques. And I'm really got the poly down really good. You can see how flat that is. It's even scuffed, but it's very flat and it's glassy. And that's hand rub, which isn't bad. Once I get that, the edges need a little bit of work. It has been sitting around for probably 12 months, but we need to get that finished as well, and we will very soon, very shortly. Let me put that away. Let's get started. Okay, I'm going to grab our sides here. I'm going to pop this stuff away. So let's pop these guys away. We'll grab our sides. We'll get them prepped, and we'll bend some wood. Bend it. Bend it. Okay, let's get those sides and have a look at what they look like. Turn the light on so I can see where I'm going. In the storeroom. Okay, we've got our sides here. These wonderful sides, they're full width, a good width that we're going to cut down eventually. Let's have a look at those. Here we are. There's our blackwood sides, matching sides. They'll be flamed, and I need to get some foil. I need to get the blanket. I need to get my strap. I need to get a lot of things, clamps. I've got everything ready to go. I'm just going to pop them all here on the bench and set up so that you guys can see what we're doing. Grab both the iron. Actually, I only need the bender at the moment. So these sides are ready to go. I need to wet them up. I need to get them wet. I need to just make sure they're matched. There we go. So that's the dress sides. They're the chalk markings. They're the dress sides that go on the outside of the guitar. Outside, they're marked. Okay, and they'll be ready to go right now. And that's got some nice flame through there. You probably can't see that very well. You will if I wet it. I'll give it a little damp spritz, given that it's going to be wet soon with water anyway. And when I wet them with water and get them prepped, it's only a fine mist. I don't drench them. I give them a good thorough wash, but I wipe most of the water off. I just get enough of that water in there. But ideally what you're going to see is, you can see the colour of that guy and the markings in that guy. They start to pop, and you can see there's quite a shimmery grain in there. But these sides are going to match the back beautifully once we bend these guys. Let me go get some water and we'll set this guy up and get ready to go. That's the rosewood fretboard that's going with the neck. The neck is what is the neck? It's a matching blackwood neck as well. We've got to work on that guy soon, but I've been waiting for some parts for my sander, which are now come in. I've got a new sander, a little temporary sander, which will do the job. What I'll do now is I'll go upstairs and grab some foil. I've got it in the other area of the building. Get my spray bottle. I'll be back in 2 seconds, and then we can start with that. Electrifying radio. What's going on? Welcome on in. Okay, I'll be dropping right back in about 2 minutes. I'm just going to flick screens, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So let's get started. I've got my water bottle freshly filled up. I've got my boards. I've got my foil. Let's go to the bench. Let's get these guys all soaked up. And get that 14 inches of snow coming in, Dana. That's awful, and it'll be nearly waist high to you, won't it? Ha! Very funny. Okay. You guys are snowing. We've got temperatures in the mid and high 30s in Celsius, and you guys are snowing and snowing. Ready to go. Blackwood, love it. Let's do the first one. Give that a thorough soaking. Give that a wipe down. Just a light wipe down. More to push the water into it, but also just to wipe off big pools. We don't want pools of water, we just want it to be damp. going to do one side only today because I want to leave it in the mold while it dries this afternoon, and then put it straight in the frame and do the other one later on. But you'll get to see how I bend my sides. So first things first, we'll put this guy away. We don't need that guy. That one's going to be bent later. We are going to wrap this guy to keep the moisture in, also to protect the wood from the metal strap from scoring it or scarring it from the heat. We don't want burn marks because it just means you've got to sand a hell of a lot more. I do leave the ends open for two reasons. One is to let some steam out so it doesn't recondense, and B, to see the steam coming out so I know that we're at temperature, because I don't use a thermometer. I know that the belt is 135 degrees Celsius, which is the bending temperature. Once it's bent and clamped down in the form, I'll switch it off and let it cool down naturally under its own steam. I won't unclamp it, and I'll let it sit down there and sit there. I used to take them out and put them straight in the form, in the mold, but I don't do that now. I'm going to actually let it sit and dry in the form first and put it in the mold when I do the next one. Okay, so that's ready to go. That's all done. Now I've forgotten which side we have down. I think this is the back side. I've got to undo this now. No, this is the face side. Okay, face side on top. Face side on top, that goes on top. Okay, let's get our form. We'll set up our form on the table here. We'll move these things and put our form up there. Get that prepped. Let's go grab our form, our mold, I should say. This is our top that we push down. need, except all the molds out that I want, except the one that I need. So let's just catch up with the chat, and I'll do that in a sec. Oof. Conversions. You guys are good at math. That's good. I'm terrible at finding things. So Terry, give us a good lost symbol, because I've lost the mold. It's here somewhere. I will find it. I will find it. It'll be under the house, of course. I've got the top for it. I just need the bottom. This guy here. That's part of it. I've got to get the bottom, the base now. Okie dokie, I've got it. Here it is. Under all the other molds, of course. That's the base. All right, I'm going to just turn the cameras so we can see what I'm doing. Let's quickly change that camera angle to there, and you can see what I'm doing there. Right, so this is our mold. This guy here. Now this guy sits on top of this guy. Whoa. Center that. There we go. Like so. I've got to line it up and make sure that it slides into place. There we go. Good. And that is how we sandwich and bend those sides. Now to do that though, we need to prepare. We need to have our blanket and our piece all set up here. We need a back strap, which is right here. Let me get the back strap. Spring steel. We use spring steel. Why do we use spring steel? So it doesn't push any of the fibers out. So that'll bend into shape, and it puts some tension back up against the fibers that want to break. When you've got a straight piece of wood and you start bending it, sometimes the fibers want to push up and out, and that's how you get a straight piece of wood bent, but if it's too dry and not malleable enough, softened up enough, it'll go click and snap along that fiber line when those fibers pop. Now, to combat that and keep them constrained, we want to push that outside where that tension's pushing up. We want to push back on it to keep them together. So that's why we put a spring steel strap in there. And that spring steel strap pushes back on that guy that wants to break. And the tightest curve that wants to break here is the tight waistband, right? The waist of the guitar. Not so much the bout, the lower bout and the upper bout, because they're, even though they are bendy, they are bending, even though they are bendy, they are pushing against the back of that guy. But we need, actually, needs to go on top. Yeah, it is for the bouts. Sorry, I lied. It is for the bouts. So this guy will push down, the base itself pushes back up, keeping that sandwich in there, and then the rest, as that goes down, they want to push up, and this is where this tension here keeps it from getting too soft, if you like. So what we're going to do is put the piece of wood down first, like so. Let me figure out. That's the upside of it, and that's going to be bent like that. So we're going to go in there. And then we pop this guy on top. So first is that. Then the blanket goes over the top of that. And it's a silicon blanket, which is wired up with voltage, or a heating element, I should say, not voltage. It's plugged into the wall, of course, and we've got this heating element. So that guy sits over the top like that, and that heats the wood. Like that. It's the exact width and length of, it's a little bit wider than the wood. That's pretty good. We'll keep it centered. I'm going to peg those guys together in a minute with some wooden pins, and then we're going to strap it all in together and get ready to go. Now make sure there's enough overhang on each side to get that down and square. This goes on top. Like that. And that, my friends, is going to control the flow of things as we bend that wood down in to that crevice there. Now we need that strap underneath, I'd say. It'll be a little bit better if it's underneath because there's a gap there. There we go. That's good to go. I'm going to strap that guy down just to keep it lined up. A couple of mini pins will do the job. Side. They might catch fire, but that's okay. They're wood, they're not plastic, so they're not going to melt. We just keep those guys there to keep that all together, sandwiched together so it doesn't skew as we push and bend. Alrighty. More pegs. Does that make sense, guys, what I'm doing? Are you all with it? Are you hip to where I'm at? Do you get it? Is it registering? Hopefully that's not going to interfere with. Let me just check the. All right, let me have a last stitch. Okay, we're set up. So what's the go? What's the go there? We're set up. That means that we can turn that on and heat it up and listen for the sizzling of the water. 4 Fahrenheit, that's about -20. Holy crap. -8 Celsius here. Blackstone, that's cold, dude. It's about 33 here today, 32 I think. Not that hot, just starting to get sticky. We had 38 on the weekend, Celsius I'm talking about, which is high 80s, maybe 90, high 90s, maybe mid 90s. Getting up there, but we had a couple of days that were close to 100, if not just over 100 last week, but it's been good. Okay, I think we'll start. Give this a go. All right, plug this guy in. And it's got a thermostat on it. So that's in. Crank this. should be heating up in real time, guys and girls. It does heat up quickly. Ooh, I can feel that already. This guy. The right side, that's the side. We just rest that on top, just over the edge, right in the middle. Like so. We listen for the sizzle. Rest that on there. Yeah, that's hot. Clamps. We're going to need some clamps. We're going to need some clamps. I can hear it boiling, so it's fizzing away. I gently slide it down. It's bending, it's bending, it's bending. Listening for the sound. It's bending. There's steam coming out. Okay, I'm in trouble here. Turn that temperature down a little bit. I've got to get this guy set up and moved a little bit. There we go. Got to get that guy over the end. Okay, we're good there. Turn the temperature up again. There we go. 135 Celsius. Push that down. There we go. That strap's doing its job. Now we need to squeeze these guys down. Slowly. Okay, that's gone. Gotcha. Now I've got to tighten these up. So that's bent. What I got to do is turn the temperature down. Unplug it. Let that cool down. And while it's still hot and cooling down, we've got to get this guy clamped up. Too well unless I get that off. back end down. Does that have a big clamp? Big clamps. We need big clamps, Terry. Big clamps. And I just basically keep that mold on there till it cools down. And then I can put it into the other mold. Once it's at room temperature, I can take it out of this guy. One more at this end. Perfect. Done. Hey, Mav. Okay. No cracks. No sounds of breaking wood. That's a good thing. Everything's bent into shape. It's probably around 90% curved to where we want it. The rest of the curving will be done with the hot pipe when I fit it into the mold. So this is to get the main shape almost there. And of course, that'll be refined once it's in the accurate mold. I mean, that's pretty accurate too, but you know what I mean. Once it's lined up and both halves are put together, we can then make sure we line everything up before we put those vertical braces, those support braces around the ends, those little tree trunks around the edge of the sides, which are going to stiffen it all up and lock it in shape. So we're getting there. Woot, woot, woot. Be Bumstead, no cracking. That's a good sign, is it not, my friend? When you hear no cracks, it means hopefully we're good to go. But that's that side there bent, which is good. I like doing this process. I do it in a very funny way. My way is like they're saying, what are you doing? Normally you should push the middle in and the tops come out, and then you strap it and you pull the strap. Look, it's the same. For me, I just like pushing the pressure down evenly. It does bite in the middle because as the ends go down, it pushes the middle up. It meets the part, the belly part that pushes in, and it just grabs that, and it's under tension all the way. And I move the whole lot down. Clack, clack, clack. Tell that to my knees. No cracks, Terry. And no funny puns intended either. Cracking, no cracking jokes either, as we say. Let me just put these clamps away. Oof. And what I'll do now is measure up the head and the tail blocks out of a piece of mahogany and cut them up and see if we can get those prepped so that they're ready to go in next week when we put the sides in the form. So let's do that. Happy New Year, Mav. Good on you, mate. I hope you had a good time. I hope you had a good New Year's Eve. Terry, how many people are on the chat at the moment? Or how many people are viewing at the moment? The stream. I haven't got my stats up. I'm just collecting some stats for my own. Because I don't normally do a Friday stream. It's because I'm still on a break that I thought I'd do that. I'm still here. Good on you, mate. That's what we like to see. Let me get a piece of mahogany and let's get working on that. Okay, where is that piece of mahogany I had? It's in the other room. I'm pretty sure I put it aside, especially for this. Let me grab that mahogany. Got a nice big chunk of mahogany here. We're going to make tail block here. Measure this guy up. Let me move that camera back down to here. Okay, this is going to be for the tail block. The head block's going to be a little bit different in that it's going to be a little bit wider. Not much, just a little bit wider. And a little bit thicker. This is the right thickness actually, because you've got a dovetail joint in there where the neck sits in. This is a bolt-on neck. We're going to have 2 bolt inserts in there, threaded nuts, and we're going to screw that in from the inside of the sound hole and get that neck screwed in to there. So to give you an idea, if that's the guitar there, that guy sits in there like that at the top. You can see that block there. And the neck, if this is the neck of the guitar, it goes downwards into a tenon mortise and tenon joint in there. And then of course we access this guy through the sound hole, and we put 2 screws vertically aligned below the truss rod. Of course the truss rod's along the top. Just below the truss rod, about 1 inch down, and then another inch down, we'll have 2 holes going into the neck, and of course it'll be threaded, and we'll have those screws tightened and pull that neck in and lock it in place. Instead of gluing it down into the tenon, I'm going to actually gluing the tenon down into the joint. I'm going to actually bolt it down. Oof. 910. What's 910? Terry, what are you talking about, Terry? What's 910? Explain. So what I need now is a tail block. This is going to be nice for a tail block. It's going to be half the width, half the thickness, about 3/4 of an inch to an inch, and it's going to be that 2 inches wide, and that's going to basically sit at the base, and it's going to tie the 2 ends together and cover the seam where the 2 bottom bouts join when you bring those 2 bent sides together to form the bottom at the base of the guitar. Basically, it sits here. There it is there. Okay, that guy sits in there like that. That little guy there just holds all that together, those 2 halves, and joins that seam that you can see from the back end if you look at the base of the guitar underneath it. And it also gives something solid to put a strap pin in there as well, or a little bit of marquetry. I tend to put a little piece of inlay where the joint is. So I'll cut that to size, and I'll put a little piece of inlay. Now that's 5 inches thick at the back. So I'm going to double check that, make sure I'm right. Let me just grab my ruler and just check my plan, make sure it is 5 inches. Yeah, 5 inches. And that tapers down to about 4 3/4, 4 1/2 at the other end. It does step away. I'll show you that when we get to that part. Now what I'm doing here is I'm going to measure this guy 5 long or 5 deep, if you want to put it that way, because it's going to sit upright. That piece there, and that's going to go in the back. It's going to go from top to bottom. Where's my pencil gone, Terry? Can you tell me? It's right here. What a doofus. $5 inches. I'm going to go a little bit wider, about 5 1/8, just to give me a little bit of play so I can sand and flatten that down to where I need to cut outside that line. Let me just draw that line. That's nice and square. That's already dressed, so that will go to the bottom, and we'll have this guy sticking out the top, and file it, sand it, chisel it to the right dimension when the time comes. Okay, that's square. Let's do the same here. Draw a line here. Okay, I'm going to cut that guy. Guideline. take that to the bandsaw, cut that up. Willy Wonko, what's happening? Are you being good? Okay, so there's our block there. That's going to sit. That's the width of the guitar back. It's going to sit in there, bring those two sides together. I'm going to glue them against that. That needs to be slightly rounded. We're going to work that on the sander, but what I need to do now is get the right shape of this guy. So I need to curve this guy ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. I'm going to leave it for now, and I'm going to file it with the rasp when we get to the stage of joining the two sides together. That's way too thick though, so I've got to take some of that off. I'm going to make it an inch. Just over an inch actually, an inch and a quarter, that's fine. I want to take these ends off and chamfer that. The important thing is to have that support at the back, but also to take off excessive wood so you don't have. I'm going to go half an inch here. Go half an inch here. 16/32, if I'm not mistaken, is half an inch. Take those corners off. Do the same here. There. Down there, that's coming off. That's coming off. So these sides are getting cut off. And then I'm going to rasp them nice and round. So let me cut the majority of that off, and I'll be right back. What's happening, Lise? Okay, there it is. So we've cut that down, taken those bevels off there. I'm just going to grab the rasp there and just file that and round that over so it's nice and round. I don't want sharp edges in there. And of course this is nice and flat that goes on the back and the two sides. And we also have to cut this length down here. So what I'll do is I'll mark all this out. Where I'm cutting along. Okay, so that's got to go. And then we'll shape that. Let me go and cut this as well, and I'll be right back. not moving. Okay, so we've cut that, and now it's a lot thinner, what we need. Okay, that's going to sit, give you an idea. If you look at the guitar, if that's the back of the guitar, it's going to sit in there like that. That's where it's going to sit. And those sides are going to come up like that, and they're going to join and be glued to the end of that, and that's holding it all together. Okay, through here, you're going to have our bracing, not our bracing, our kerf around there, our linings, and when those linings are in there, we'll be able to glue the top down to that, of course, and this large area here will also add a nice couple of square inches of space to support that back of that top and back as we glue them down and sandwich them onto that. It's pretty wood, perfect. Ha! Big chunk of Angelica wood. Slightly too narrow. What are you trying to do with that? Tell me. Fill me in. Willie, you've started this story. Stool legs. Awesome. I love it. What a great idea. But they're too short? They'd be probably a high chair for Dana. Am I right? A high chair for Dana. Righto. I'm going to go over and sand this guy now. Just going to walk over to the back there. I've got the sander on the floor there. I'll leave this as it is. I don't want to touch this guy. That's all clamped up. Ha! Blanks wide enough to mount claw feet onto them. Have you thought about splicing on the inside a block? Are they square legs or round legs? Or are they bent wooden legs? Ha! What did I start? You've started it now, Leslie. You've started it now. What can I say? What can I say? Okay, we're good to go here. I'll just put my mask on. Terry, do I need a mask? Absolutely you need a mask. Terry says. Do I need a mask, Terry? Absolutely you need a mask. Don't you go and not wear a mask. Okay, I'm hearing you. Let's put a mask on. Okay, I get you, Willie. That sounds all right. I think you can manage. I think you'll work it out. For the record, until I fell down the stairs, I was 5'4.5". And what are you now? 4'9". Okay. Off to the sanding. Okay. There we go. Okay, it's smooth. It's half the width that it was. I've rounded the corners. And that's ready to go in here, like so. That's where it's going. That's where it's going. Okay. Whew. Let me take this mask off. God, it gets hot with that mask on my face, I tell you. Okay. So that's that guy. Now I need a piece of mahogany to make the neck block. Now I did have one here somewhere. I'll find it. As a matter of fact, I just did. Donk. That guy. He's the right thickness. Cut that block there. Gonna make him extra long, and then I'll trim him when I need to trim him once I know the sides. And I'll cut him with the sides. It's actually angled because when you look at the guitar top, if you look at the top of the guitar, if that's lying the guitar flat like that, there's the back of it and there's the front of it, and that's the top of the body going lengthways from back to front. The neck's out here somewhere. It's going to slope like this. It's going to be tilting away towards the neck. Just a slight tilt. All acoustics aren't perfectly flat. They're just a little bit of an angle. So obviously this block is a lot shorter. If this is 5 inches at this end, this is going to be roughly around 4 3/4 or 4 1/3 or something like that. So we're going to work that out. But what I'm doing is I'm making a 5-inch neck block, and then I'm going to cut it to size when the top goes down, and then I'll know where those screws are going, and they'll have the right, it'll be the right length and the right height, etc. So that's what I'm doing. Mr. Fatto, Mr. Gatto. Who called him Mr. Fatto? Are you being cheeky there? Terry, what's going on there with Mr. Fatto? What's happening, Gatto? Tell me, are you well? Let me just check my messages quickly because someone just beat me. Ooh. No. No one beat me. I'm actually waiting to go and make a time to go and pick up that 3-phase 24-inch sanding disc with the spindle motor and driver at the back. It's going to be awesome. But I have to go there when the guy's there because otherwise it's not going to look good. Okay, we cut a piece that's 5 inches long. Excuse me. Just over 5 inches. There it is. This end's going to be a little bit round at the top here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark a center line there. 4.5, 10, 11, 114, 116, which is 116, what's that, 58. Mark center line. There's the center line. So that's our block there. Now the neck at the 14th fret is about 52 millimeters. The 14th is where it cuts, where it touches the body. Cuts over. So 52, 27 is 54. Actually, it's closer to 54. I'm going to go 27 anyway. I'll tell you why in a minute. That's the minimum. So I'm going to leave it as it is. I think that width is going to be fine. It's quite chunky, but I want to have a nice, stable bit. And obviously I'm going to round over these ends are going to be cut away at the back. But and that's deep enough for the tenon, because the tenon's about 2 inches deep. Sorry, about an inch deep. That's cool. Okay, so we're going to go cut this guy now and shape him. Be back in a second. All right, and this guy's going to be our head neck block up here. I'll get the size of the, give you more of a look at how big it actually is. I'll bring down the cutaway, but pretend it's not a cutaway, so that block's going to go in there. Okay, it'll be a little bit chamfered here in the middle. In actual fact, we're going to take a good inch off that. Not inch, half inch. No, inch. Did I say inch? Maybe not an inch. Actually, I'll go half inch because I want to keep it at 45. I'll go 3/4 of an inch. That's fine. 3/4 just to give me a nice little bevel there. And also to match the back. I'm going to round that over anyway. I like them round. Don't know why, I just do. Do you like them round, Terry? I like them round. We're talking about neck blocks, of course. Let's draw these lines down here where we're cutting. This guy here. That's got to go. This guy here. Let's go slice these guys. Okay, slice it away. shaped. Took off a nice chunk of wood, lighten that up a little bit. We're going to dig a inch by an inch tenon in there. That's where the neck tenon's going. We're going to bolt it from this end in here, on the inside of the sound hole, and that's what's going to pull that neck. It's going to sit in there like so. So that neck's going to be like that. Okay, it's going to go in there like that. That's the bit that gets that neck in there. So that's that part done. This will be obviously a lot shorter. It's too long, it's too high. It's the same height as the other guy at that end, 5 inches high. Okay, this height is going to be staying at 5 inches. There, see that? This one's going to fall away, slope down very, very slightly, but you will be able to see it. It is audible, it is visible. There we go. That's roughly what it's going to look like. And then the sides, of course, you can see they're going to wrap around here and glue down this seam here, clamp the sides here. They're going to go around here onto the kerf linings, and they're going to join at the top here, which is going to be slightly rounded if I choose to round that. Otherwise, I could choose to keep it flat. And it's usually slightly rounded because, as you can see, as it gets to the top there, it's still round right into there. So at the very least, we're going to chamfer that a little bit off the top of each corner there, just make that a nice little subtle, very subtle radius, just to get that neck, the alignment of that top shoulder coming into the center there without compromising it and making it look square. It needs to follow its natural curve to the middle, right? It flattens out at the top, but only for about an inch, and you won't see that anyway. So but we want to make sure these ends that come into the top up here are actually following the curves of the guitar and aren't just going boom and then stopping and you get a sharp edge down there, which isn't the case. What did Leslie put? And acoustic guitars are meant to be shaped like ladies. It stands to reason that any blocks should be rounded. Absolutely. We are going to round them because we don't want sharp lines. We're going to round them. In actual fact, I'm going to use my finger plane to round this little guy. I'm going to use my finger plane. If it's sharp enough, I haven't sharpened them yet. It does work. It's a little bit on the blunt side, but it takes off that corner. I do need to sharpen these, Leslie, do I not? This one's a bit small. Give me something that's a little bit heavier. It is quite hard, this mahogany. When I say hard, it's not dense, but it is a little hard. And I've got to sharpen these, obviously, for them to work properly. They are sharp, but not as sharp as they should be. That will do the job. Take the corners off. Ideally, what I want to do is use the sander. Maybe use my rasp. Where's the Shinto? The Shinto will make light work of that. Willie's favourite toy, the Shinto. Look at that. Whew. Two compared. One is round, one is sharp. We take that sharpness out. You cannot beat the Shinto. It is an awesome tool. it controls the narrative so well. It controls the narrative so well. It just made that all nice and curvy. Turn that guy into a girl by shaving off the extra bits that he didn't need. Does that even make sense? Just rounding it over a little bit more. Beautiful. We've got a nice shape. A blanket. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. We're fine. We've got our tail block. We've got our head block or neck block. And all that's left now is to get those sides into the form and to do that. Now, I did bend one side earlier on. There it is. Let me move this camera down and show you guys. It should be around there. You can see that guy sitting in there. Okay, he's in his little resting place, all scrunched and sandwiched in there. And that's going to dry there for a couple of hours, and then I'm going to pull that out and put it into the form. And the form is really the top and a matching half. They come together, they're split in the middle. They come together, we lock them in place, and it shows us the shape of the guitar. And we put one side in one side. We use these clamps here, spacers in the middle to keep the sides from collapsing. I made these from wooden blocks, two pieces of Queensland maple, rounded the edges. These follow the curves of the guitar. They follow the curves of the guitar, so they can be used to push. Sorry, that's the bottom there. That follows the curves of the bottom bout there. Keeps this side from pulling away, so it pushes it up against the outside to keep the shape. And there's a smaller one with a reverse cut, which is for the waist there. And that pushes the waistline into that form to keep it from springing out and flattening. So it keeps it flush and tight against there. And these are all adjustable by just turning them and hand tightening them. Once they jam in there, we've got a little bit of sponge on the end there, a little bit of velour felt. And that keeps it from scratching or denting those sides. And once that's in there, in the form, like that, whoops, then we're good to go with the sides. Once they're in there, then we can keep it in place in that form, and we work on it by, we use the form on a sanding bed, and we sand the profile. We cut away the profile so it slopes away. Then we sand that flat. Once that's flat, the lining goes in. The lining goes in the bottom as well. We've got the vertical supports, the vertical bars that go around the sides every 3 or 4 inches around the sides. There's a measurement of them, a number of them that I put around. And then, of course, the top and the bottom can go on. Now, usually the bottom goes on first, and we voice it again. And then, because once the top's on, you can't shave any stuff off. So we'll give it a final voicing with the blocks in and with the bottom in. And that should be resonant and boomy. And then when we put that top down, we should be good to go. Any questions? Ha! As if you have questions. You know it all. Ladies and gents, that's it for today. I'll be back. When am I back? Monday. How many days away is Monday, Terry? 2 or 3? Something like that. It's Friday here, so we'll be back on Monday, usual time. And we'll be back to 1 or 2 streams a week. I'll probably do one on the weekend as well. Tomorrow's Saturday. Today's Friday. Do I want to do one tomorrow? I'll probably be busy, but Sunday I may do one. And also Monday I'm definitely back. Terry is 3. 3 days. Good answer. Terry, I keep forgetting that you're bound to respond to my rhetorical questions. And when I look up and I see answers, I go, what is she talking about? And I go, that's right. I asked a question and she's just answering them. So good on you for up there for thinking and being switched on. Thank you, guys. We do have a good time here. Willie, good luck with your legs. I hope they work out for you. Good amount of work done. Mark, I'm taking it easy, man. I'm just cruising with this guy, taking my time, let it settle. We're bending things. We don't want to crack things. We're shaving things. We're measuring things. It's slow and easy. The customer's not in a hurry, to be honest with you, but it's going to be good. We want to take our time and talk about it. And we want to talk about each stage as well and why we do things. I'm taking a different tack this year. No more 24-hour builds. We're not going to be flying like a rat on speed, on meth. We're going to be taking it easy and cruising and analyzing and doing all that stuff. Look, it's been great. I'll see you guys in a couple of days. Be good. If you can't be good at it. I'll see you then. Bye for now.